Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Komal Yadav, Research Scholar of Galgotias University attached with CFSO CBI New Delhi. In today's module, we are discussing about what is ballistics, classification of firearms and the ammunition. So what is ballistics? Ballistics is the branch of science which studied the path of projectile, their behavior and effect of a projectile. A projectile such as a bullet is an object that leaves the source of its energy behind and is affected only by gravity. Projectile having parabolic pathways. Forensic ballistics involve the examination and identification of firearms, cartridge cases, bullets, estimating the range of firearm for the purpose of criminal justice system. There are three categories of ballistics which involves internal ballistics, external ballistics and the terminal ballistics. Internal ballistics is the study of motion of projectile inside the gun barrel. External ballistics is the study of motion of projectile from the muzzle end to the target. Terminal ballistics is the study of motion of projectile on the target. If the target is human or animal, then it is called wound ballistics. Firearm. Firearm is the device by which a projectile or projectiles can be hurled with great force. This force is supplied by the expansion of gases, usually produced by the burning of propellants. Next, we are discussing about the history of firearms. The use of firearms started probably in the 14th century. The first firearm was not that much of firearm when compared with the current productions. It was a straight metal tube closed at one end and open at other. The diameter of tube varied from 1 centimeter to about 3 centimeters. The gunpowder was put into the barrel through the open end, the muzzle. No projectiles were used in the firearm. It was just to create noise and smoke. After these type of firearms, next one is the matchlock gun. In matchlock gun, what happened? There is a touch hole in which the propellant can be filled, and the ignition was initiated through a touch hole. When the firearm was loaded, the powder would reach the touch hole. There, it could be put on fire without much danger. After that, a smoldering stick or a hot iron rod was used to initiating powder charge. A smoldering wick replaced it. It was attached to an S-shaped metal piece. After that, when the wick was burned, the ashes of the wick was settled down in the touch hole, which ignite the propellant and the projectile can be hurled out from the barrel of the gun. Next is the wheel lock action gun. What happens in wheel lock action gun? A wheel with a corrugated edge can be put into the motion by pressing a trigger. The wheel was so placed that it struck against an iron pyrite piece placed over the touch hole. After that, the friction produced sparks which fell upon the gunpowder contained in a depressed place, which is called flash hole, around the touch hole and lighted it. The touch hole, when it ignites the propellant, the projectile can be hurled out from the barrel. After wheel lock gun, there are some complications. What is this? There was a wheel which is very costly and the mechanism is very complicated. After that, flintlock gun can be come into the use. What happened in flintlock action gun? The wheel lock mechanism was complicated and costly. The flintlock device replaced it. A piece of flint was fixed to a jar shaped like an ordinary hammer. When the trigger was pressed, the hammer holding the flint would fall and strike a metal piece capped over the flash pan. The spark so produced lighted the charge in the same way as V-locked system. After flintlock precaution lock gun was come into the use, what happened in the precaution lock gun? The ignition of gunpowder by using a highly sensitive compound which exploded on being struck. This compound contains mercury fulminate. When struck by a hammer, produce a flash strong enough to ignite the main charge of powder in the barrel. After that, the classification of modern firearms is based on different characteristics. First, it is based on the bore characteristics. It differentiates types of firearm into two characteristics. These are smooth bore firearms and the rifled bore firearms. On the basis of loading characteristics, these are muzzle loading, breech loading and the magazine loading. On the basis of action characteristics, firearms can be classified into many types. These are lever action, bolt action, automatic and semi-automatic action. On the basis of firing characteristics, they are single shot, repeaters and on the basis of handling characteristics, firearm can be classified into two main types. These are handguns and the shoulder arms. After that, we can classify firearms on the basis of their use. They can be used as sporting firearms and the service firearms. Firearms can be broadly divided into two main types. These are smooth bore firearms and the rifled bore firearms. First, we are discussing about types of smooth bore firearms. In smooth bore firearms, there are Swan-off shotgun, paradox gun, and in case of rifled bore firearm, there are revolver, pistol, machine gun, submachine gun and AK-47. First, we are discussing about shotgun in details. What is shotgun? Shotgun is an important firearm. The criminals frequently use it in India. The shotgun family of firearms include almost all smooth firearms. Parts of shotgun are barrel. A shotgun may have one or two barrels. The barrels may be joined side by side or they may be lie on one over the another. The side by side and the single barrel are more common. Rarely one come across a shotgun having three barrels. The third barrel is usually rifled and bullets are fired from it. The barrel of shotguns are ordinary smooth bore. Thus, these are 10 bore, 12 bore and the 16 bore shotguns. The two ends of the barrel of a shotgun are the breech end and the muzzle end. The muzzle end carries a sighting pin at the top which is called foresight. The breech end is also known as the chamber end. It carries a sighting device which is called rear sight. Next is bore. In case of shotgun, we are using bore, but in case of rifles, we say that rifle or caliber. Bore is defined as the internal diameter of the barrel which is equal to the diameter of a spherical lead ball weighing 1/n of a pound. 1 pound is equal to 454 grams. The bore diameter can be found from the given bore number from the following formulas, that is d cube is equal to 4.6578 by n. By using this formula, we can find the number of bore. Next is choke. Choke is found in shotgun. Shotgun barrel are often choked. A choke generally is a constriction which reduces the diameter of the barrel near the muzzle end. The chokes extend inside the barrel to a distance of 3 to 15 centimeters from the muzzle end. Next is chamber. What is chamber? The breech end of a barrel of shotgun has a special cavity to house the cartridge. It is called chamber. The diameter of the chamber is slightly more than the diameter of the cartridge to be fired from the firearm. This extra space allows a certain amount of expansion of the case, which takes place due to expansion of gases created in the firing process. The length of the chamber in a 12-bore shotgun varies from about 5 to 8 centimeters, which is depending to the bore of the barrel through a tampering called the chamber cone. The length of the chamber cone varies from 1 to 5 centimeters. The chamber end carries the extraction and ejection mechanism. It consists of a claw which is attached to the rim of the chamber. On breaking open the breech, the claw is pushed out of its base. It brings out the cartridge or the case which was resting on it. The extraction work is thus completed. The cartridge or case is picked up and removed from the claw. Action of shotgun. It consists of a mechanism for loading, firing of live cartridge, extraction and ejection of fired cartridges. The action includes the mechanism and the safety device also. The common action are pump action and semi-automatic action. In pump action, what we are doing, there is a slide which we have to tilt backward. Pump action is also known as trombone action. The pump action is a simple in principle. There is a sliding forend. When the forend is pushed toward the stock, it actuates a cam, the cam moving the firing mechanism assembly backward. In its backward movement, it extracts and ejects the fired cartridge. On its return journey, it picks up a cartridge from the magazine and loads it into the chamber and closes the breech. Simultaneously, the hammer is cocked and the firearm is ready for firing. Next is the stock of shotgun. The stock of shotgun is a wooden piece joined to the action block. The shape, size and weight have been evolved after a lot of experiment and experiences. They are now more or less fixed. The proper construction of the stock has great influence upon aim and comfort in handling the firearms. Types of shotguns are Swan-off shotgun. What happen in Swan-off shotguns? Swan-off shotgun having short barrel figure frequently in crime. The short barrel facilitates hiding and portability. Consequently, they are very popular with the criminals. Next is improvised shotguns. In improvised shotgun, or it is also known as 12-bore pistols, also have short barrels. The length often varies from 10 to 40 centimeters. They are somewhat similar to the Swan-off guns. Next is paradox gun. Paradox gun having two shallow grooves which are engraved near the muzzle end. They give gyratory motion to the single projectiles fired from them. The motion enhances the stability, flattens the trajectory and maintains the velocity better. Now we are explaining or discussing about rifled firearms. Rifles are often known by their calibers. They are designated in 1,000th part of an inch, 100th part of an inch or in millimeters. The calibers are nominal only. The calibers are measured across the lengths. Lengths are uncut portion of the rifled barrel. The rifle, like a shotgun, has a barrel, action and stock. In addition, there may be a magazine. The barrel and action differ significantly from corresponding parts in shotgun. Next is the part of rifled firearm. First one is barrel. The rifle barrel are grooved. The canals like furrow are called grooves. They are furrow cut in form of spirals inside the bore. And the uncut surface between the grooves are called lengths. The number of grooves in a rifle varies from 2 to 16. The number of grooves affects the stability of the bullets. The barrel lengths are usually 30 to 70 centimeters. And broach cutters is used for the manufacture of lengths and grooves. The spiral structure of groove is obtained by gradually and uniformly turning the cutter while cutting the grooves in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. This turning is called the twist and the angle of turning is called pitch. The invention of grooves riflings in firearms was a great step forward in improvement and the development of firearms. It increased the range and the accuracy of arm greatly. Next is action. Different actions like lever action, bolt actions, semi-automatic actions are used in rifles. What happens in lever action? The lever to actuate lever action mechanism in rifles is ordinarily fixed below the trigger and acts in addition as the trigger guard in the normal position. When it pushed forward, a rod is pulled backward which extracts the fire cartridge and cocks the rifle. Simultaneously, the carrier block is pushed upward and carries a live cartridge. When the lever is brought to its normal position, the rod places the live cartridge in the chamber and the carrier block takes its original position. After that, the rifle is ready for fire. Next is the bolt action, which is used in both shotgun and the rifle. It is very common action in service rifle. Loading and unloading operations are carried out through a strong steel bolt which is known as knob. In its forward normal position, the bolt is locked with its knob turned to one side. In this position, it seals the chamber. The firearm is cocked in this position, and when the bolt is drawn backward, the fired cartridge case is also extracted from the chamber and along with the bolt. When the bolt is pushed forward, it picks up a cartridge from the magazine and places it in the chamber of the firearm. Turning the bolt to one side seals the chamber along with the cartridge and the firearm is ready for firing. And in semi-automatic action, what happened? How semi-automatic action can be worked into rifles? Basically, semi-automatic action become a favorite action in service rifles. In this action, if a trigger is pressed, when the firearm is loaded and cocked, it fires a cartridge. In addition, the energy of the fired cartridge is utilized to extract and eject the empty case, load a new cartridge in the chamber and cock the firearm for a second fire. And the semi-automatic action is operated either through recoil produced in the empty cell or by the gases and the outgoing projectiles or by utilizing a part of the expanding gases. Next is the magazine. Magazine used in repeating automatic and semi-automatic firearms. They are aligned with the chamber of the barrel on the hand and with the moving bolt or breech block on the other hand. In some firearms, the magazine is permanently fixed and in others it may be detachable. Both arrangements have the same working principle. There is a spring attached to the bottom of the magazine It fill up the whole box even when the magazine is empty. When the cartridge are filled in it, they continuously depress down the spring. The greater the number of cartridges, greater is the compressing, till the spring can be compressed no more. The maximum number of cartridges which can be introduced in the magazine, they indicates its capacity. After that, we are discussing about the types of rifled bore firearm. First is pistol. All short-handed rifle arm which can be fired by one hand, they are known as pistol. Pistol has a magazine which is unlocked in its grip. These are available in all calibers from 5 to 12 millimeters. The barrel of the pistol, which has 6 lands and 6 grooves and left hand twist, is known as Colt type, and that which has 5 lands and grooves and right hand twist is known as Smith and Wesson type. Pistols are normally semi-automatic or self-loading type in which the pull of trigger of a cartridge is final. The discharge is utilized for ejecting the fired cartridge case, reloading a fresh live round in chamber and cocking the action so that weapon is automatically made ready to fire. Again, on pulling the trigger a second time. Second is revolver. Revolver is a rifled handgun which has revolving cylinder having chambers for loading the cartridges. The number of chambers may vary from 4 to 7. On pulling the trigger, the cylinder rotates, thereby bringing one of the chamber in line with the barrel for firing. Revolver of different caliber is available. The revolvers have short barrel and therefore are effective only at short range. There is some space between barrel and revolver cylinder which is responsible for leakage of gases and powder residue. After that, we are discussing about machine gun. The machine gun is a fully automatic firearm designed to fire rifle ammunition. Because of the greater power of the cartridge, the blowback system of operation is not common in machine gun. Recoil and guns operating are common. In machine gun, the rate of fire is very rapid. It's about 300 to 1800 shots per minute depending upon the feeding system. After that, submachine gun. A submachine gun, like a machine gun, is a fully automatic firearm. It is simply a machine gun designed to fire smaller cartridges like that of pistol ammunition. It may recoil or gas operated. Next is AK-47. Assault rifles are often modified version of service rifles. They have become very popular with the terrorists in our country and elsewhere. The Russian assault rifles AK-47 caliber 7.62 mm of Russian design, though manufactured in various modified form all over the world, are being used extensively by the terrorists in our country, which is very common among the terrorists. Now we are discussing about the components of ammunition. First is the cartridge cases. What does cartridge cases? The cartridge cases house the primer, the propellant, the wads, if any, and the projectile charge. They are manufactured from a variety of materials: brass, paper, aluminium, steel, plastics, and currently being used. Two types of cartridge cases: shotgun shell and the brass shell. In shotgun shell, a shotgun shell consists of a tube, a base, and a base wad. The tube is ordinarily made up of many layers of impregnated thin paper which are tightly compressed. The shotgun shells are usually made into two lengths. First is 2.5 inches, which is equal to 63.5 mm, and second one is 2.75, which is equal to 70 mm. The base is made up of brass. The base is of many layers of the paper. The base wad and the tube are placed together in a disc and crimped together to create a rim which holds them together. The rim also retains the cartridge in the chamber properly. The base was strengthened the cartridge case. Next is the brass cartridge case or brass shell. Brass, composition of brass is copper 70% and zinc 30%, has been found a particularly good material for the manufacture of shell. It is the main material used in the manufacture of shell for rifles, pistols and the revolver ammunition on a large scale. This is because the alloy is easy to work with, stamped, drawn and annealed. Besides, it is resistant corrosion and action of weather. Brass of high quality and purity only is used for the purpose. The cartridge case may be rimmed, rebated, semi-rimmed, rimless and belted. Rimmed cartridge cases have an extractor flange that is larger than the diameter of the cartridge case body. The letter R is added after case length numbers in the metric system of caliber designation. Semi-rimmed cartridge cases have an extractor flange that is larger in diameter than the cartridge case body, but also have a groove around the case body just in front of the flange. The metric designation for these cartridges is SR. Rimless cartridge case have an extractor flange whose diameter is same as that of the cartridge case body and also have a groove around the body of the case in front of the flange. In metric system of caliber designation, no letter is used for this type of cartridge case. Rebated cartridge case has an extractor flange that is smaller than the diameter of the case. A groove around the body of the case is present in front of the flange. The metric designation is RB. Belted cartridge case has a pronounced raised belt encircling the cartridge case body in front of the groove in the body. The diameter of the extractor flange is immaterial. The metric designation is B. Next is bullets. The bullets is a part of cartridge that leaves the muzzle of the firearm when it discharges. Modern bullets fall into two categories. These are lead and metal jacketed bullet. Lead almost the original material used for the projectile because it has a high specific gravity. Second is it has a melting point. Third one is it can be molded into various shapes and it is comparatively cheap. There are various types of bullet. These are round bullets. Round nose bullets provide the least braking and usually jacketed and are useful mostly in low velocity handguns. The wad cutter design provides the most braking from shape alone, is not jacketed and is used in low velocity handguns, often for target practice. A semi-wad cutter design is intermediate between the round nose and wad cutter and is useful at medium velocity. Hollow point bullets designs facilitates turning the bullet inside out and flattening the front, referred as expansion or mushrooming. It shows the mushrooming effects on the target when it hits on the target. So friends, you must be learned about a lot firearms, history of firearms and the ammunition. Thank you so much for watching this video.